Welcome back to Rules of Engagement. We just talked a little about some new Heart of the Swarm builds and tactics that the pros use. We're going to do a lot of Heart of the Swarm content from now on out, so stay tuned for more Heart of the Swarm action. But now it's time to answer some questions from the community. If you guys want your questions to be answered, tweet them at me at axslav. So first question is going to be from Tiago Carvalho, and it's going to say, the question is, how can Zerg work on economy if they're under pressure? So this is something that a lot of people have problems with playing Zerg. I myself, it's one of the hardest things for me to do when I'm playing Zerg, is balancing the units and economy. The best way to do it is when you play a game, do what you think's right. And then after the game, whether you won or lost, go into replay and check that situation and see, after you push the pressure back, how many units did you have? If it's close to 0, you're doing good. If you have a bunch of units, then you're going to say, you know what, next time I see the composition, I can back off a little bit and make maybe 5 more drones or something. Integrate them into my production even while I'm under pressure. So it's an experience thing, but you have to be able to tell if you did it well or wrong by going into replay and looking at how many units you had at the end. Was it too many? Or did you die? Then you need more. So it's a lot of self-evaluation and just going over replays, basically. Next question is from James Privete. It says, how did you first get involved in casting, and what do you suggest to an aspiring student trying to get involved in the business? So the business is kind of vague, right? Of course, if you want to get involved in the production side of things, you know, I mentioned about the fullsail.edu. Actually, all of our graphics are made by a fullsail.edu graduate, and 2 of our interns are from Fullsail. So getting yourself educated in that respect can be great. If you want more information, fullsail.edu/MLG. But if you want to be interested more in casting, right, the best thing to do is don't think of it as getting in on the business, right? Think of it as a hobby you do on the side. You just have fun with it. You volunteer to cast as many events as you can do, right? Grab pro replays, cast them, throw them on YouTube. Just do, because you're not going to make money for the first couple years you're doing it. That's just a fact. So you just got to keep doing it as a hobby on the side of your regular job. And then eventually, you know, if you keep improving and do a great job, opportunities will come. But the thing is you don't think about as getting in on the business. You got to think about it as something that you love doing and a passion, a hobby. And then eventually, later down the road, you may be able to make it into a profitable enterprise for you. But you just got to do it. Just got to do it for the love of it on the side as a hobby and see where it takes you. So the next part is going to be one last question from Aiden O'Donnell. And it's going to be, if all races had complete vision, which race would benefit most and why? That's not obvious. I think I think Protoss would benefit the least. Because Protoss typically you're not worried about timings from other races, to be frank. Like you play your Expo, you get sentries and force fields and cannons, like I can't die. I don't need vision. I already know he can't kill me. The problem is how can I stop him from progressing? So Protoss is all about developing its really strong timing attacks. It's a core element of Protoss play, at least in the current metagame. And so Protoss would almost be hurt a little bit because people would know exactly what timing to go in for much faster with complete vision. So between Terran and Zerg, it's a little bit interesting. I almost feel Zerg has the ability to benefit at the fastest rate from reacting to an opponent because they can bounce drone and army production, build more command centers, and they can modify their unit composition because Terran has a hard time changing the unit composition between barracks, factories, and starports. So they'd be able to get better unit compositions. Zerg get the best economy. I have a feeling Zerg would benefit slightly the most, but it would be a close call between those two. So I hope that answers the question pretty well. That's a good question. So keep asking more questions, Aiden. You got some great ones. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Rules of Engagement. Tune in again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern for some Heart of the Swarm exhibition. I think we're going to be going over some arcade games, which can be really, really fun to play. Then, of course, at 7 p.m. Eastern, it can be the next episode of Rules of Engagement. It's going to be Developing Fundamentals. See you guys tomorrow.